Spruce class, welcome to Mrs. Harvey's Roman kitchen. I am wearing my best evening tunica and I'm going to be cooking the steamed lamb from your homework sheet. Now, the first thing on the list of ingredients is 10 lamb cutlets. I went to the supermarket and I bought 6 lamb steaks, so not quite the same thing. But what I've done is I've cut them all in half. So if I've got 6 lamb steaks and I've cut them all in half into 2 pieces, I now have a bit more than 10. I have 12 lamb cutlets, which is great because I think it's just going to mean a bit of bonus meat for my guests. So I'm just doing the last one. Now, of course, before I handle all this meat, I washed my hands very thoroughly. And after I've handled it, I'm going to wash my hands very thoroughly again because meat, when you're handling meat, you need to wash your hands in between. There you go. I'm also going to have to wash this knife, oh that was falling apart, and this board before I chop up any vegetables. There you go. See how you're going in there? That one's falling apart as well. And there we go. So, I've got to wash my hands. Now I'll be back to do the next stage. So, now what I've put in is I've put in my lamb. I've also put in 2 leeks. Now the recipe said 2 onions, but certain members of my household don't like onions. So instead of that I've used leeks, which we know the Romans had because they are on the chicken recipe, which I also gave to you, so that's good news. I've put in some coriander seeds and I've put in some ground cumin as well. But I still have to put in some salt. Now, the salt is instead of liquamen, which was a sort of fishy sauce that the Romans used, which was very salty. We don't have that fishy sauce anymore, so I'm just going to use salt. I need another tablespoon of that. Teaspoon, sorry. Get the right spoon. And I also need to include a tablespoon, this is where my tablespoon comes in, of leavestockle. Now, leavestockle appears to be a bit like celery, so I've got some celery here. I'm just going to chop this up into small pieces. Notice I'm using a different knife and a different board, so it doesn't have a lamb on it. Let's crack these pieces up. Now, I happen to have a tablespoon, which is an enormous spoon like this. Let's see if I've got a tablespoon there. A bit more than a tablespoon. There we go. But if you don't have a tablespoon, it's 2 of these dessert spoons. So you can use that instead. I'm going to put that in there. Finally, I'm going to grind in some pepper. So there you can see the lamb, the leeks, the celery, the spices I put in. I put in a litre of white wine and 100 millilitres of oil. Now the wine, when you cook it, all the alcohol goes away, so it won't be alcoholic at all, so it's perfectly okay for you to eat. And that's that. Now we just need to cook it for 30 to 45 minutes. Now the final thing we need to do is we need to separate out some of the liquid from the lamb and thicken it with starch. I'm not exactly sure what starch, so I'm going to use corn flour. I'm going to put a bit of corn flour in there to start off a little bit more. I'm just going to keep pouring in the liquid until I have a lovely, thick sauce to go with my lamb. So,
I feel really good.
The moment of truth. How's the lamb?
Oh yeah, that is really good. I would eat that.
That was great. That's splendid.
Fit
The
for an
sauce is
emperor.
really creamy.
Very tender.
Mm.